Bytes. This is Desley Casey
Sue Pavlic.
and thank you for joining us this evening. We've had a couple of little technical issues, so we're kind of trying to redo the live that we did earlier this afternoon. Now, as you all know, Anthony Albanese, Albo as we call him, is now Australia's 31st Prime Minister and governing in his own right in Labor has won the election in May 2022 and able to govern in their own right. Now, just a very quick update that came through very late this afternoon after our live. Fiona Phillips, the Labor member for Gilmore, which is the electorate that I am in, because the vote was so close and the Australian Electoral Commission were this afternoon to declare her the winner as the Labor MP. But Andrew Constance, the Liberal candidate, has requested a recount.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So it's now back in the lap of the gods, even though she's been nicknamed by Albo 77 because she would have... the Gilmore was the last seat to be declared. Well, it hasn't been totally declared, but it was all, to all intents and purposes, going to Labor, that Fiona had won. And so she was nicknamed 77 by Albert, but now we're in a recount. Now, as it took 3 weeks to get to the declaration stage, we probably have another 3 weeks waiting to find out yet again that she has actually won the seat of Gilmore.
The election that keeps giving.
That's right. The election and the LNP, they just do keep giving, don't they?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we were looking at and talking about this afternoon was that the cost of gas and electricity is so astronomical, and Labor do not want to, really give cash handouts at this stage, but they've inherited the perfect storm, as they're calling it. Gas and electricity prices are skyrocketing. However, the low-income earners' wages is still before the Fair Work Commission. That will be determined towards the end of this month, in June 2022. But what does it do for pensioners and job seekers and carers, anyone who's relying on a Centrelink payment?
Well, they wouldn't be doing too well at this present minute, would they? It angers me that the previous government actually knew of this way back on the 1st of May and chose not to share it with the Australian public and suppress the information until after the election. I can certainly see the political gain in that, but in terms of people and being able to prepare, I just think it was really, really poor judgment to do that. It's not something that is within our control at this, that aspect of it. So how are people getting by? I mean, already we constantly have to make daily choices of, do you eat? Do you pay rent? Do you buy your meds? Do you get fuel? I mean, the mind boggles.
Yes, it certainly does. And the problem is whether people will have to choose between food and medications.
Yeah. And
And
because the last interest rate, the 0.5%, it's been mooted that landlords are going to pass that on to their tenants. So again, they're going to be hit again with higher rents, and it just keeps going and going, and people are not in a position to absorb any of these costs that just keep skyrocketing from the supermarket to the Bowser and all in between. It's just, putting so much pressure on people, families, children. It's just the aged. It's just outrageous, I think.
well, the thing is that, how is Albo going to keep his promise when it's basically, his promise was that no one would be left behind? Well, the LNP left a huge portion of the population behind, including basically all Centrelink recipients and those on the cashless debit card.
Yeah.
And now we're facing skyrocketing grocery prices, skyrocketing petrol, skyrocketing gas and electricity processes. How on earth can we not be left behind?
Well, I think in the long term, we won't. I believe that. But in the interim, they've inherited a set of books that are absolutely beyond anything that even Labor conceived as, being manageable. The debt that they inherited, the economy, the whole lot, what they understood it to be and what it's turning out to be are chasms apart, and which makes it just so much harder to honour, at least in the first instance, the promises that they made, in like no one gets left behind.
Right.
I think initially people will get left behind because I don't know what the answer is right now. We're not in a position to throw more cash, to go and borrow even more, to throw at people to get them through this difficult time. So I don't know, but I do know that all those ministers are working their butts off trying to find a solution, trying to find an answer.
Yeah. Right. Now, we're going to stop there just for a minute, and we'll stop that just for a minute in the recording, if you can bear with me. And the reason being is that they're having trouble with the seeing the back end. So bear with me. We're just to let visitors, viewers, and listeners know, we're trying to test the Fluton platform, which is what we use for streaming live on Facebook. And there's been a couple of little technical hitches which the Brains Trust in Fluton have been really looking at big time, and where they just can't see where it's been connected to Facebook, and they asked me to check it, which I did, and basically the live is not showing on Facebook at this point in time. So we just might have to start it again. It's so just bear with me. I'm just trying to send them a that's why I've got it there, try here. It does help if one is in the right folder, And I'm just attaching that at the moment.